So it is Sunday, 7 o'clock p.m. We already got our first double order from DoorDash, and it's a banger. I'm expecting to make some big money tonight, so I'm on that hustle. $9 for 2 miles. We can get this done in under 10 minutes. We're already at $33.50. This dinner shift has been fire so far. We get a $16 for 8-mile double from Kona Grill, bringing us to $49 in an hour and a half. Alright guys, so we got our next order. It's from a nice restaurant, so this order is pretty decent. Hopefully an extra tip. So I signed up for Uber, and I was planning to do some Uber rides today for the first time, and it got approved, my background check and everything. But I'm not even sure if it's activated on my account right now. I'm not sure how you toggle on and off on Uber. I've even messaged support and they said I'm good to go, but that's obviously not the case. So let me know if this has happened to you or if you know how to fix it, because I'm looking to add this to my bag to get that $700 in one day challenge going in Phoenix. Not a huge fan of picking up from Taco Bell, but we'll take this one, $7 for 2 miles. Alright, so I just take this order, which is definitely not the best when it comes to dollar per mile. Only $1 per mile, 14 miles. But the reason I took this order is because it's bringing me closer to Arizona State University, where I wanted to go to check out the late night college orders. I feel like nobody eats here besides to get the pizza cookie or pizookie or whatever. Ron just confirmed my theory. He ordered 2 pizookas. But now the issue is the restaurant just told me someone else picked it up. So I'm gonna get $3 chump change for driving out here. I canceled the order through the menu and called later so I could receive orders while on the phone, but it magically disappeared, so I literally got nothing. It seems like they're making it harder to get compensation pay now, so make sure to call and have them cancel it for you if you really want to see through that you get the cancellation pay. My last 2 orders of the day was this $9 for 2 miles from Del Taco and this $19 for 14-mile grubhub from a restaurant inside of a gas station. That was actually pretty clutch because I was way out of my regular zone at this point. Alright guys, well unfortunately I did not really end up making it to the area I wanted to deliver in today. Today was a solid basic dinner shift. We made $103 in 4 hours for an hourly rate of $25.99. We always want to stay above that $25 an hour rate. Our first order of the day is from the Tempe Marketplace shopping area, $15 for 8-mile double. The GPS brought me to the other side of the parking lot. I just walked through the entire shopping center, and I could have just parked over here. This is what happens when you first get to a new area. I picked up the 2 orders and walked all the way back to the other side to my car. This order was dropping off to the DoorDash corporate office.
Hey, that's where I was born.
Oh, I didn't know that, Dashy. How's your kid, by the way? Is he doing good?
Yeah, but it's hard to raise a family nowadays with inflation and all that stuff.
I found the food delivery shelf for this office building, and my goodness, there's a lot of orders here. The second drop-off was also to another business building, making this order take 45 minutes to complete. So that order was definitely not worth it. It doesn't seem like I'm getting any orders from this location. Alright, so we drove back to this same marketplace and got this Panera Bread order, bringing me up north. It's bringing me to the downtown Scottsdale area where I spent a lot of time in my last video. We made some decent money, but I want to explore even north of that area because there's a lot of expensive restaurants and shopping areas there too. But for now, we got this $9 Denny's order bringing me 2 miles closer, followed by a $5 Jason's Deli order that I took because I was entering the slow hours now, and unfortunately, richer areas can actually be pretty slow during these 1 to 5 p.m. hours, especially on a Monday. It probably would have been more efficient if I waited for the dinner shift or went home during these hours, but the problem is I'm far away from my Airbnb right now, so I really have no choice but to grind it out until the dinner shift. I picked up this $5 Pastino's order, and then I got this $13 Uber Eats order from a store right next to it going the same direction. Only one of the 2 Uber Eats orders was ready, so I had no choice but to unassign the one they're still working on. I continued on with this $8 for 3, $8 for 4, $7 for 3. Funny thing, I was actually in the Taco Bell drive-thru grabbing a value burrito when I got this one, so it worked out perfectly. And then a $7 for 2, and currently at 4:50 p.m. we're at $99.89 in 5.5 hours for an hourly rate of $18.16. Off to a terrible start. The main reasons being the drive in the beginning to start in a different zone and long waits in between those orders I ended up taking. But now it's 5 o'clock p.m. It's the dinner shift. We're looking to raise that hourly rate. Stick around to see how much I raise it. Finally a good one. $9 for 3 from Mad Greens, and then a $13 for 9 that I took because it was on the way to my DoorDash drop-off, and it came with an extra tip, bringing it up to $17.90. It's time to turn things around. $17.50 for a 6-mile double order. Let's go! $16.50 for 7 miles. Another big DoorDash, $14.50 for 8 miles. And after that dinner shift, we are now at $202.61 in 9 hours. Our hourly rate for today went from $18 an hour to $22 an hour. Still under what I want to be at, but we'll take it. But even with that push, unfortunately, things are about to go south again. It is 8:26 p.m. I only have Uber Eats, Grubhub, which I don't even count Grubhub. Grubhub's been doing nothing. DoorDash turned gray, and usually this wouldn't be a problem. Usually if it dies, if I'm not getting orders on anything, I just mission abort and go home. But I'm currently 25 miles away from my Airbnb down in Gilbert, so I cannot do that. I have no choice but to try to get orders that bring me down south if I want to remain efficient. I was getting absolutely nothing, so I started driving that direction until I finally got back on DoorDash and grabbed this $11 for 7 mile going south. I had to pull a U-turn to basically get to the same area that I was just sitting at, but we'll take it. Coming in clutch shortly after was a $10 for 4 mile from Crumble Cookies. Let's see what flavors they even have. What is that, cereal? Is that Reese's Puffs? There's one on the top. It looks like goat cheese and blueberry delight. Oh man, no offense Crumble Cookies, but what is going on? There's no sugarcoating it. Today was terrible. Honestly, it was not a good idea to work so long on a Monday. The North Scottsdale area that I was in seems to be a great hotspot, but more for busy times like the weekends and the weekday dinner shifts if you want to get the big tips. Also, the farther north I go, the farther I'm going away from my Airbnb, which makes things a little more difficult for me. Alright, so it is Tuesday. We got our first order. Our first order is $25. It's nice to see a $20 plus order, especially from Uber Eats. We're gonna not make the mistakes that we made yesterday. We're gonna go with the flow in this shift. We're gonna not try to end up anywhere. We're gonna be smart picking these orders. Both orders picked up. Now we got a 19-minute drive to our first drop off. This order came in with a $4 extra tip, bringing us to $29.23 on our first hour. Our next order is $10 for 5 miles. The $10 for 5 from DoorDash wasn't ready, and while I was waiting, I get this $10 for 3 from Uber Eats from the same store, and it was ready, so it was a no-brainer to unassign the DoorDash and take this one instead. Alright, so we're going through a gated community. Hopefully there's an extra tip. There was one, a $3.99 extra tip. This order was definitely worth it. $7 for 1 mile, great dollar to mile ratio. We just got a shot for these 4 items real quick. Then I got this message saying, "Hi Trevor, I hope you enjoy your tip. Is bro about to tip me like $100? I shot for the 4 items, nothing was out of stock, and I headed to the drop off to see how much the total is if I get an extra cash tip. Bro hyped that up like he was about to give me 50 bucks. It was only $3. Alright, so unfortunately, it's been a while since we completed an order. I had to drive 6 miles back up north, and I finally got this one, Wingstop, $12 for 5 miles. Alright, I just wasted like 5 minutes trying to find that apartment, but we got it done. Now we're looking for our next order. Unfortunately, the same thing that happened to me yesterday happened today. DoorDash turned gray and Uber Eats completely disappeared. I drove back closer to my Airbnb instead of waiting. I got this $7 for 2 Jack in the Box, but they said they didn't see the order in the system, so I had to cancel and get $3. Alright, so we got our last order of the day, $13 for 7 miles. Not a bad order. The shift started off really good, but kind of went badly towards the end. But let's go knock this last one out. A disappointing ending to today's shift, but we still made $78.47 in 3.5 hours for an hourly rate of $22.42. Not great, but not terrible for a Tuesday. I didn't work on Wednesday, so let's fast forward to Thursday. Alright, so we just got our first order of the day, $19 for 9 mile double order from Uber Eats. Not a bad order at all. Let's go pick it up. And we got an extra tip on this one, bringing us to $22.94 in our first 45 minutes of being out. Our next order is $14 for 6 miles from Popeyes. So far, off to a good start this shift. So I just picked up the order. Unfortunately, I was in Popeyes for like 20 minutes. Another order that came with an extra tip, this one from Whataburger. It gets brought up to $14.40. I was going to do this mediocre Safeway order until I got the $7 for 2 DoorDash that was much better, and I'm glad I did that because our next order is massive. $35 for 9 miles, let's go! We just picked up the order right now, it's only a 19-minute drive. It only took me 34 minutes to do, $1 a minute. Funny enough, this is actually a no-tip order, all base pay, so it must have been floating around the system for over an hour at least. It's 7:49 p.m. now, and our next order is a double, $13.50 for 7 miles, but we are about to run into a major problem.
Some extreme and unusual weather disrupted life in Arizona last night. Check this out. A massive dust storm. It's known as a haboob.
All of a sudden, the weather started going crazy. And I was thinking, what the heck is this? No one told me about dust storms. I dropped off the final order because I was a couple of minutes away and went back in my car. Alright, so now we just got stuck in a dust storm. I've never been stuck in a dust storm. They didn't have them in Boston. I guess, if I was driving and it dropped to 0 visibility, it would not be good to drive and not be able to view. I saw that there was cars still on the road, and I was only 5 minutes away from my Airbnb, so I decided to make a run for it, and I made it. Today was our best day of the week, making $106 in 3.5 hours for an hourly rate of $30.52. That's how you do a weekday dinner shift. This Friday shift was very disappointing in the Gilbert area, especially after having a great day yesterday. You'll see why in a second. The biggest issue I have with the Gilbert area is that there's really only one main hotspot, and when you're directly in that hotspot, you get orders rolling through your phone. But sometimes when you're a couple miles away, it's like you don't get as many orders, and you gotta drive all the way directly to that hotspot again to get orders. That's not always the case, but here today, it definitely was. We drove a lot of dead miles back to the hotspot, and it caused our dollar per mile ratio to suffer, and ultimately our hourly rate as well. Now, you can't judge an area off of one shift, and this is not me bashing and saying it's a bad area at all. I'm just pointing out a con here. I'm still trying to figure out if I like dashing here in Gilbert or Scottsdale more. I like how it could be pretty consistent throughout all times of the day here in Gilbert, but Scottsdale has better dollar per mile efficiency overall, especially during dinner, which is important. As I mentioned before, there's still some potential firepower in this area, as you can see from orders like this next one I get. We just got a nice Outback Steakhouse order. There's a chance for an extra tip with this filet mignon and this New York strip, except for the customer's name is Karen, so that kind of decreases our chances by a little bit. We got an extra $2, bringing it to $12.50. When it comes to extra tips, we'll take anything we could get. Guys, so we just finished up that shift. And honestly, I am not happy with the stats today at all. We made $88 in 4 hours and drove over 60 miles. That is not it. That is not the numbers that I want to get. So it's a week or so later now as I'm recording this voiceover, and I figured out why I was making less money this week, and I've evolved into the next level of delivering in Phoenix since. My strategy of working a couple of hours every weekday dinner shift in the Gilbert area wasn't working because I was limiting myself to that area, dropping off orders, and then driving directly back into that hotspot like you saw in this shift. Instead, I've switched my strategy to working all day on the weekend, zone hopping from Mesa, Gilbert, and some of Tempe during the morning and lunch hours, and then making my way to Scottsdale for the dinner shift, but not going too high north because once it hits 8 p.m. the peak dinner shift ends, I have to make my way back down to Gilbert using Tempe as a halfway port, sending me orders transporting me between the two areas. I've started to get really good at that strategy, especially in the following week after this one, but for now, I'm still learning, and what you're about to see is another early development version of that strategy where I head to Scottsdale earlier and not as efficiently. Alright, so we just got a first order from Chick-fil-A, $9.50 for 4.5 miles. Pretty decent order. I'm in a car wash right now if you couldn't notice. So once we get up on clean, we're gonna go pick up this order. After dropping that Chick-fil-A off, I get this $6 McDonald's order bringing me west, and I decided it was close enough for me to head up to Scottsdale immediately, and I had to drive about 10 dead miles without an order on the highway. Not the best move at all, but fortunately today, we catch a break the moment that we make it up there. Let's go! $19 for 4 miles, and the order was ready when we got here. This order is clutch. We got another $5 extra tip, 24 bucks in 20 minutes. Our next order is a quick Instacart, only $7, 1 mile, and is 5 bags of ice. Another quick shopping order. I need to stay on that hustle because I want to get over $25 an hour today. Alright, so we picked up an Uber Eats order. We gotta drop off this DoorDash first, but it's only 2 minutes away, so it should be quick. And we got a nice added tip on this one. Extra $5, bringing it up to $16. Things are looking good. I took this $14 Grubhub order as well. I was making my way down south to deliver that Uber Eats order, followed by another solid one, $9 for 2 miles, with the order being ready in the store. We just got that order done in 9 minutes. Our next one is a McDonald's, $8. Let's get it done quick as well. And we're rolling. These orders are coming in back to back to back, keeping things efficient and quick. $52 order for 5 miles. It's been a long time since I've done an order like this. Instacart has been in hibernation for the longest time, but it's back. And it's perfect that I'm doing this order at 1 o'clock p.m. right as the slow hour hits for food delivery. Alright, that took a while, but we still got it. We got the 2 carts. We'll put one in the trunk, one in the front seat. While I was driving, I got this message saying that there's a cart in the arts and crafts room if I needed it. I didn't have my cart on me at the time, so this was actually very helpful. So I have to find this arts and crafts room. I have no idea where that is, but hopefully we find it. And the second drop off was to a second floor apartment, so it wasn't too bad. Alright, so we dropped that Instacart off. It took 2 hours from start to finish, but the dollar per mile was great, $10 per mile. We got our next one right here. It's kind of far. The drop off is also kind of far away, but it seems to be dropping off to a hot spot. So we'll go over there and check it out. So that last order definitely took a lot longer than I wanted to, 30 minutes from start to finish. This hot spot that I'm at is gray, so it was looking to be a mistake, but I did get this total line order. It's not the best, but I needed to get out of this area. There's a lot of shops here, but it's kind of secluded and slow right now, so it's not really a hot spot like it seems I thought it would be. I had to shop for 9 items at total line, and it always takes a lot longer here than I expect. The last hour and a half was not very good. I've had like 6 people comment on my Buc-ee's shirt today. Are people in Arizona obsessed with Buc-ee's? I took this $7 for 4 mile Uber Eats order and then took an hour and a half to meet up with some people and eat dinner. And came back out for the end of the dinner shift needing some $30 hours. And that's what I like to see, a $5 extra tip, bringing us up $236 for the day. $9 for 3 mile DoorDash, we'll take that any day. We got the hotel drop off. But honestly, I'd rather do a hotel drop off than some of these apartments that I'm having to go to. Alright, so we just got our next pickup. It's the Picasso's Healthy Italian Kitchen. Usually when they say it's healthy, it means it does not taste good. And what is the Vortex? What is that? Alright guys, so I literally did not get anything for like 20 minutes. And I finally took this one, $7 for 1 mile. I preferred something a little bit better, but we'll take it. I finally got a decent one again, $10 for 4. It's past 8 p.m. now, and I had to start driving back south to my Airbnb. The orders started to get far and in between, but when they did come through, they were actually very good late night orders. I did them as I continued my way south, and they were low mileage, which helped a lot. Obviously, living farther from Scottsdale is a big negative for this area for me, as I always count commuting miles and time towards my hourly rate. Alright, so we just got this $38 for 1 mile Panda Express order. There's no way this order is real. Usually, this happens when the restaurant is closed. It just keeps getting sent back in the system. Right now, the restaurant is open, so that's surprising. But let's go inside. They're probably going to tell me that another Dasher, or I guess Uber Eats driver, picked it up already. So the lobby's closed. I guess it's worth checking out the drive-thru.
Yeah, it looks like that got picked up like an hour ago.
Alright, gotcha.
Sorry, man.
It's all good. Alright, so we've been slowly making our way back to our Airbnb. We just got this one, $8 for 4 mile from IHOP. After this, I was able to cut it down to a 15-minute drive back home. If I do a shift in Scottsdale, it has to be a longer shift because usually I make less in the time that I'm picking orders that bring me to and from. But anyways, that was my last order. Now let's take a look at how much I made today and how much I made this week. I'll take it, $319 in 12 hours for an hourly rate of $25.54 for our Saturday shift. These are my totals for the week. Not gonna lie, the numbers are under what I usually like to make in terms of hourly rate and efficiency, but it happens sometimes. We made $921.70 in 38 hours for an hourly rate of $24.25. We drove a total of 550 miles for a $1 per mile rate of $1.67 a mile, also lower than what we usually like to make, for a total gas cost of $72. Check out this video to see how much I made last week, which was a much better week, and we'll see you in the next one.